everyone, I'm Kelly Phillips.
And I'm Christian McGarvel.
And you're watching Rider Sports Report. The women's basketball team is making history this season, putting on a great performance each game. They just suffered their first 2 conference losses after winning 10 straight games. The team was undefeated in the MAC until they fell to St. Peter's and Marist. The Lady Broncs now have a 12-2 record in the MAC and a 19-4 record overall.
Head coach Lynn Milligan is now holding the title of most wins by a head coach in Rider women's basketball history. After earning her 163rd win when the team played Manhattan, the Lady Broncs are currently ranked number 14 in the CollegeInsider.com mid-major top 25 poll. 2 standouts in the team are Amari Johnson and Stella Johnson. Amari Johnson leads the MAC in rebounds per game, ranks 14th in Division I in rebounding, and has over 10 or more rebounds in over 17 games this season.
Stella Johnson continues to earn awards and recognition left and right. On February 10th, she was the only mid-major player to be named a candidate for the 2020 Nancy Lieberman Award. She's also the first player in Rider history to be named the U.S. Basketball Writers Association Ann Myers Drysdale Women's National Player of the Week. Not to mention that she is currently number 1 in the country for points. Through all her success as a Bronc, it's hard to believe that Rider was the only school that recruited her when she was looking to get her college career started. I got the opportunity to sit down with Stella and talk about how she deals with the pressure that comes along with all eyes being on her. Let's check it out now. Hey everyone, I'm Kelly Phillips with Rider Sports Report, and today I'm sitting down with senior women's basketball player Stella Johnson. Stella, first of all, thank you for coming on the show today. We're really excited to have you here.
Thank you.
So, congrats on an amazing season so far. Walk me through what that's feeling like, especially you being a senior, and how have you guys been able to keep up that performance?
I think everyone's just very excited about how the season's going so far. I'm excited, the coaches are, my teammates are, but me started putting the work in summertime, and we expected nothing less, but we just believe in each other, and I think that's what it comes down to, is that we trust each other on the court.
Mm-hmm. So then, what do you feel like has changed from last season till now?
I think the seniors got older and realized this is the last year. For me as a freshman, I saw the seniors go out without winning a MAC championship, so that's not what the feeling I wanted to have when I left. But I think the seniors just know this is their last year. This is the last time they could do something.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of brought me into my next question of you being a senior. How different does this playoff season feel than your previous years here? Because that last chance mentality going into it?
I think it's kind of crazy because you never think that your college career is going to end. But so it's just I was sitting down with my roommates who are also my teammates. They're like, 10 games left. And I'm like, that's crazy. That's only 10 games left of your college career. So it's pretty crazy.
That is pretty wild to think about. And the MAC championships will be here before we know it.
Yeah.
Do you and the team have a plan of attack going in? What do you think has to be done to come back with a championship for the school and for the team?
I don't think we're looking at that yet. I think we're trying to finish out the next 10 games, and this is game by game by then, and that's what we're really focused on right now.
It's no secret that you've been earning awards and recognition left and right throughout your whole career, but more specifically in the past year or two, you're leading scorer in the country, so congrats.
Thank you.
Reigning MAC Player of the Year. So how do you kind of keep yourself humble through all of that?
I think with my mom and my coaches, awards don't really mean anything unless you have something to show for them, and that's a championship. So it's just keep working hard to get to where you want to be, and I have to thank my mom for that, and the way Coach Milligan coaches all of us. So yeah.
So would you say that that's something you pride yourself in, is being that humble player and I'm here for my team, but let's get this done?
I would say so. I like just keeping on the DL. So it's just I don't want to be that hype person. I just want to get my work done and get it going. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people respect about you, playing the game and about you. So back to Player of the Year, MAC Player of the Year last season. Crazy experience, I'm sure.
Yes.
So what mentality did you kind of bring from that whole experience to this season?
Just hopefully a repeat. My freshman year, Robin Perkins had Player of the Year, so I was just looking how she worked and how she got that award. But, just brought into next season, and I don't want to be the same player. I want to evolve to a better player, so that's the only thing I was thinking of.
And so you talked about evolving. What did you feel like you had to adjust and evolve in order to become even better and keep yourself from growing?
I think just being a leader to the younger players on our team. We have a sophomore point guard. Even though I trust her with all my heart, it's just that she's also young, and we just need to teach her the way sometimes. And just getting better in every aspect of the game.
there's a lot of people who I'm sure look up to you, younger girls playing basketball, people who want to play in college, even your underclassmen teammates, since you are recognized nationally. What advice do you kind of give them, and like what do you tell them?
I don't think I give them advice. I think just my work ethic off the court and on the court is just, I think that shows for itself that if you want to get to where you want to be, you have to work for it. And I think that's the advice I give them. And if they come to me, like, I also give them, like, honest advice, too. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's good that you're, like, that person. One of the people they can go to for that. Let's take it back to you growing up. Was there anyone that you looked up to in the basketball world?
Like, I guess Maya Moore. She's one I looked after in UConn basketball, but Kawhi Leonard, I love him. And I really respect Damian Lillard, too, when I was younger.
So would you say that you model your playing style after them, or is it kind of unique to your own?
I think it's unique to my own. They're both mid-major players that made it professionally, so that's why I pretty much look at them, Riders and mid-major.
Right.
But I like Kawhi's defense, but I like Damian Lillard's confidence on the court, so it's just like it's a good way to model.
Nice little mixed with Stella into it, too. So then how would you describe your playing style?
I don't know. I think everyone has a different way to describe it, but I don't really describe it. I don't really think to myself about it. Just play.
Yeah. Going into all these games, how do you keep up the energy and keep it going? Not only you, but the team as well.
That has to do with our coaches. We have, like, lift and conditioning still, and we stretch a lot, and we try to intake a lot of water. So I think the coaches be getting on us about our diet and how we treat our bodies, like not going to bed late, make sure we have our homework done before a certain amount of time. So I think it's just time management that we keep up on.
So, senior, you've been here 4 years now. How do you feel like you've transformed or developed in any way from when you first started?
I definitely think being more mature from freshman year to now. First freshman, I used to get a lot of fouls. I mean, I still do now, but it's just, I think the way I get them is way different from the way I was as a freshman. But also, being a leader, I don't think I could, if I was the same person I was freshman, I don't think I could be leading the team to hopefully a MAC championship later on this season.
That's awesome that you're able to look back on that and realize all that. Who do you think helped you out? Obviously, it was a lot of yourself doing it, but was there anyone along the way or a few people who helped you out with that?
Definitely Coach Milligan, Coach Steve, and my mom and my AAU coach, which I keep in contact with. So they just, you need to evolve your game, you need to evolve your character. So I think that's what helped me too.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. How much of the game would you say is more mental and off the court, especially with your teammates, like bonding with them before you get onto the court?
Yeah, I think it's really big to have like a mental connection with everyone on your team and yourself, because you don't know what people went through before they came here at Riders. So it's just knowing them and knowing that they're in the right headspace to perform on the court is it's huge.
That's a really great point. So last question, I feel like is the $1 million question that everyone wants to know. What are your plans after Rider?
Hopefully to play professionally, either in the WNBA or overseas, but just to finish the season out first, and then we'll see what happens.
What happens after that. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. Can't wait to see how the rest of the season plays out. Hopefully we'll get to some games and talk to you there.
Okay.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Here to go into more detail about the women's basketball team are our sports analysts, Dylan and Sean.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Dylan Manfrey.
And I'm Sean Schonebroth, and we're here to talk some Rider women's basketball. So let's just dive right into it, Dylan. Rider recently dropped its two first MAC games of the season against St. Peter's and Marist. Was this just a fluke, or was Rider actually exposed?
I think it might have been just a fluke, to be quite honest with you. This isn't a team who messes up a lot. I mean, they have plenty to work on, whether it's turning the ball over less, fouling less. So they do have plenty to work on. And I think as far as turning the ball over goes, against St. Peter's, they did that a lot. And against Marist, they had a good, showing in really the third and fourth quarters when they were able to trim down that 14-point lead. But scoring 2 points in the second quarter, that's absolutely not going to cut it. And that's something they needed to correct and fast before things got really ugly.
Exactly. Like you said it perfectly. They needed to correct it, and they did correct it fast. They had a blowout win over Siena, and they pulled one out over Manhattan. But I'm going to play devil's advocate here, because Ryder fell behind in both games, and they clawed back in. It's 2-point second quarter. That one's a fluke. That doesn't happen at any level of basketball. That one was a fluke. Ryder was just missing open shot after open shot. And against St. Peter's, I believe they were down by 12 at the half?
Yeah.
12 at the half, and that ends up being a 1-point game. They clawed back into both games like they have so many times this season, and this time they didn't pull it out. And we know they are better than St. Peter's. We know that. They beat them before. They've beaten plenty of teams who are worse than St. Peter's. So I'm confident with you that this one is a fluke.
Yeah, no, and St. Peter's, there was a theoretical lid on the basket, no doubt about it. You know, head coach Lynn Milligan will say it, the players will say it, and they have since I've spoken to them. But you know, they're going to have another test against teams like Fairfield, Quinnipiac on Thursday, which is a very, very tough place to play, and they're going to have St. Peter's one more time on their schedule here at Ryder. But listen, the St. Peter's game was a fluke. I'll admit that. They're not going to let something like that happen ever again.
Yes, and you just talked about the St. Peter's game, but the other game was Marist. And it seems like the MAC is just a two-team race between Marist and Ryder. How do you think the Bronx compare with Marist? Are they better, are they worse, or is this like a 50-50 matchup every time they hit the court?
To be honest, I think it's really 51-49 a majority of the way, because the MAC is a conference that I would argue it really is top 3, maybe even 4 teams if you want to include Quinnipiac in that. Because while they don't have their 18-0 record, and they're not undefeated right now like they have been the past 3 years in conference play, you know, they're still a good team. You can't count out Quinnipiac. It's really a battle between those top 4 teams in Marist, Ryder, Fairfield, and Quinnipiac. Fairfield just got upset by St. Peter's yesterday in overtime, 66-63, I believe. So you really can't count everyone out. Certainly don't count out Fairfield, who Ryder has a game against.
Yes, we say, like, tournament season especially, anything could happen. And we saw it against the first game of Marist. Like, it went to overtime, and it was a hard-fought game to the finish. But what aided Ryder to get momentum was a 3-court shot to end the first half. I'm not saying the Marist one was a fluke by any means of the imagination. That was a hard-earned win. Mm-hmm. But things happen in the game of basketball that just are unexplained. And the unexplained is what ends up deciding winners and losers in this sport over and over again.
I agree, and I think also free throws is going to be something that decides a lot of these games as well, which Ryder does an exceptional job at. They're one of the best free throw shooting teams in the nation. Stella Johnson individually one of the best free throw shooters in the nation. She takes a lot of attempts and converts a lot of them, so that's really going to help Ryder if they get into those tight stretches where they need to make some free throws in order to extend the lead or tie or maybe claw back. But obviously you don't want to do the latter. You don't want to claw back. You certainly don't want to claw back against a team like Marist, who has a big 3 in Rebecca Hand, Grace Vanderweide, and Alana Gilmer. You can't do it against Marist.
We already saw them try.
And they tried, and it was a valiant effort, and they deserve credit for it. But like we said earlier, 2 points in the second quarter is not going to cut it against them. It certainly won't cut it against Fairfield. They're going to be playing Quinnipiac tomorrow, which is Thursday. You're not going to be able to do it. Not in their gym. They might not have the intimidation factor of 52 straight MAC wins anymore, but they sure have the intimidation factor of their home crowd in Hampton, Connecticut.
Oh, no, you said it perfectly. They might not have the win streak, but there's still a pedigree that goes along with this program that is well earned. You can't
Absolutely.
You can never count a program like that. And as Ryder goes on that goal to chase that MAC trophy, is there an X factor that Ryder fans should be looking out for come tournament time?
I think it comes down to really 2 names. It comes down to Amari Johnson, Leah Favre, maybe even Deja Moses, if you want to add a third name in there. Deja Moses is going to come off the bench, but she's going to provide some valuable minutes to this team that needs a contribution from every single person in the starting 5 and maybe that 6th, 7th man. If somebody gets into foul trouble, if Aubrey Johnson usually gets into foul trouble, 2 players are really coming in immediately. Deja Moses or Victoria Toomey. I would rather have Deja Moses over Victoria Toomey in a situation like that early, but I think both are valuable options if you want to replace Aubrey Johnson at center. Now, the team needs to stop getting into foul trouble early. You can't have a player like Amari Johnson who averages a double-double off the floor. You can't be reserving her when you need her out on the floor. You can't have Stella Johnson have 3 fouls, especially not Amanda Mobley. You cannot let Amanda Mobley get 3 fouls. And Leah Favre For her to really push this team forward, she just needs to play her brand of basketball. She had a couple off nights, and that's what contributed to those 2 losses because she wasn't connecting well. Again, theoretical lid on the net for her. But Leah Favre is the most consistent player in the MAC, hands down. There's no doubt about it, and it's always going to be like that for her. So if she can shoot 50%, 54, 55%, Ryder's going to be fine. I think Ryder's 13 or 15-0 if Leah shoots over 50% from the field.
Yeah, you said it perfectly, especially in the women's game, I'd say. Inside scoring is so crucial. I guess, no, let me rephrase that. In all forms of basketball, inside scoring is so crucial, consistent scoring at the center position. Mm-hmm. And when Leah is good, Ryder is good. When Stella is great, Ryder is great. And we know those players have that capability, and that they live up to that. This team should be able to go as far as it wants. And I think that's a perfect way to wrap this one up. Thank you guys for tuning in, and have a good one.
Thanks, Dylan and Sean. Now moving on to the men's basketball team. The team is sitting with a 9-6 record in the MAC and 15-10 overall. They are currently 3rd in the league standings, and Rider is the 3rd Division I team in the last 5 years to have 4 1,000-point scorers, with all those points scored at a single school. All 4 of Rider's 1,000-point scorers are seniors.
Demencio Vaughn has been the leading team scorer in 9 of the last 14 games. Stevie Jordan continues to climb up the charts in all-time assists and steals at Rider. Tyre Marshall had a game high of 16 rebounds against Quinnipiac. He has a total of 720 rebounds and is fighting his way to the top of the all-time rebounding list at Rider.
The men's swimming and diving team has done it again. The team just won their 9th straight MAC championship title. The 4-day championships took place in Buffalo, New York, and the Bronx came out victorious with a total of 725.5 points, ahead of second-place Marist, who finished with 544 points.
Justin Carey was named Most Outstanding Swimmer, Dylan Wells was named Most Outstanding Diver, and Matt LeQuang earned Men's Swimming Rookie of the Meet. The women's swimming and diving team finished the championships in 5th place with a score of 433, falling to Fairfield, who won it with a score of 581. This is not the end of the road for the team, as they are competing for the 2020 ECAC Championships February 27th to March 1st.
The wrestling team clinched the MAC East Division title after defeating Clarion 25-13. 6 Rider wrestlers won their matches and 2 won by fall. The team returns to action on February 22nd against the University of Maryland at the Xfinity Center. This is the last meet before they go to the MAC and NCAA championships.
The baseball team is starting off strong. They had a 3-game sweep against Charleston Southern to bring their record to 3-0. Their first home game is March 10th against LaSalle.
Here's Tom to tell you more about the baseball team's win as he discusses his top 3 Rider plays of the week.
How we doing, everyone? Thomas Jamarco here. And over the past week, it's been a fun week in Rider sports. So these are my top 3 moments over that past week. Number 3 is Christian Ing's nasty alley-oop dunk out of bounds from Stevie Jordan. The Rider would go on to win that game by 15 points over Niagara. Coming in at number 2 is Rider's 3-0 sweep over Charleston Southern this past week. Rider starts the season 3-0 after a sweep over the Buccaneers, and in the 3rd game, they had a 5-run 6th inning to complete that sweep over the Buccaneers. And last but not least, at number 1 is Demencio Vaughn's nasty poster over Quinnipiac. Demencio Vaughn would finish with 20 points over that game versus Quinnipiac, and not to mention that crazy dunk he had in-game. And that's it for this week. I'll see you guys next week with my top 3 moments of the week. Thank you.
Thanks for watching this episode of Rider Sports Report.
To keep up to date with us and see extra content, follow us on Instagram at Rider Sports Report.
Once again, I'm Kelly Phillips.
And I'm Christian McCarville.
And you're watching
Rider Sports Report.